Hey guys, welcome back to my weekly Let's Try series. This time we're trying Reconnected. This is an 18+ game for adults, so just be forewarned if you investigate further as far as downloading the full game and checking it out for yourself, which you are welcome to do. Immersive ASMR intro. Ooh. Is this like a rendered in Blender, like full environment that they take screenshots of then? That's interesting. Relatively rare to see 3D assets in these. I mean, it's not in the game in 3D, but you know what I mean. You know we're not supposed to be here. Oh, quit complaining. It's not like anything bad is going to happen. I'm gonna immediately go over here and set the text speed to not be at full speed. You're lucky you're so cute. Just a bit longer and I'll have the lock decoded. How'd you manage to get your paws on such questionable tech anyway, Jakar? Some things are best left unspoken, Nika. You know, that doesn't really make me... Actually, never mind. I'm not some kind of secret deviant, if that's what you're afraid of, Nika. We're breaking into a place. Let's just take turns saying each other's names out loud for any onlookers. You just might end up a deviant if the Dean of Security finds us here breaking into the athletic rooms this late at night and we get expelled. That's what you're afraid of. That the Dean's going to be taking a midnight stroll by the athletic room for no reason at this hour of the night. At this time of day, localized entirely in your kitchen. I don't know, I had the cadence to that for some reason. You don't know? He very well could be. Did you hear something? Is it the Dean? You're paranoid. I didn't hear anything. Hey, that's mean, Jakar. Look, I'm just a little nervous, alright? Is that just such a bad thing? You're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have called you paranoid. I get that you're nervous, but do you even still want to do this? We can just go back to my dorm room and fool around there instead, if you'd prefer that. No, I really do want to have you all to myself for at least one night, even if I am a little apprehensive. Is that not... Do you not have them all to yourself in the dorm room? Well, if it means I can finally get some alone time with you outside of our dorms, then the reward is well worth the risk, if you ask me. Getting expelled? You apparently can fool around anyway, right? I'm confused. I guess you're right. My roommate is beyond irksome, and yours is, well, yours is downright weird. Okay, so they both have roommates, and they can't just get them to go away or something. Got it. Our chamber awaits us, my paranoid mate. So, you're just trying to get me riled up. Oh, now you're just trying to get me riled up. Oh, trust me. You're going to be pretty riled up inside, if you know what I mean. Hahaha, penis dick. Jerk. After you, my dear. Gods, it's so dark in here. I can't see a damn thing. You're not still feeling nervous, are you, my love? No, not so much anymore. Being close to you like this is certainly helping. I don't know what the tone of this particular game is, but these characters have so many death flags. One, that it's like, it's a couple that's breaking into a place where they're going to be alone so they can have sex. Of the age of most people who die in horror movies. Like it's the cold open couple that dies. But like in the economy of visual novels, it's especially noticeable that they don't have sprites so far. So it's like, I don't think these characters ever have sprites. I think they die right now. I do still feel bad about breaking the rules like this, though. Who knew my dashing boyfriend was secretly such an adherent little creature? Oh, so they're both men. Didn't know that. I couldn't tell what the gender of Nico was by name. You're incorrigible, which is a word I say normally. Was it adherent and incorrigible? This is a school. Now get over here and kiss me before I change my mind about this whole thing. It would seem your nerves have been replaced with some desire. About time you loosened up. Jakar, why are you being such a stick in the ass right now? That's just a layup. You know I can't help teasing you, babe. Besides, it kind of sounds like you want my stick up your ass anyway. Uh-huh. You can feel the author teeing themselves up to say a line. You are so lucky I love you as much as I do. Now get over here, you big lug. That's not a good sound. No. I love it when you growl like that for me. Tantalizing to say the least, my love. Jakar? That wasn't me. Did you hear something? My love? Relax, okay? He's saying it too much. It's getting really awkward for you to say it out loud that many times. Just try to enjoy yourself. It's just us. Am I being too rough? Do I need to slow down a bit, babe? I didn't even realize that they were that far. Oh, I definitely heard something that time. It sounds like something breathing? I heard it too. Still think I'm paranoid now? Nika, be quiet. Hello? Is anyone else there? I still can't see a damn thing. I'm gonna find out what that sound is. Nika, don't you dare. You stay right here. I thought they were, like, penetrating right now. Ouch, you stepped on my tail, fucking jerk. Nika, stay close to me. Something feels wrong. Leave out the door. Who's there? Nika, I think I see something over there, near the corner. Leave! Leave through the door you came in through. It's just a room, right? Jakar, the decoder device. Maybe we can use it to get some light. Just leave! Well, the moment anyone else is seemingly there, the moment's already passed for your goal in this room was. Do you see anything? Yeah, I do. I think whoever is in here is just up ahead of us. Who are you? What the hell are you doing in here? Is that who I think it is? What the hell are you even doing in here, you fucking freak? Are you some kind of fucking pervert? He was here first. Jakar, calm down, okay? I'm sure he's just as scared to see us as we are to see him. Hey, what's going on, man? Why do you look different than normal? Are you hurt? Are you okay? What are you doing? Nika, I think something's wrong with him. Is he sick? Look, man, we were just looking for a good time. We don't want any trouble. Nika, don't go over to him. Stay here. Oh gods, what happened to your eyes? They're... Oh gods. Nika, he's... Oh fuck. Nika, run! Nika, run! The least survival instinct of any characters I've seen in ages. Those are sounds. Nika? Where did you go? I can't find you anywhere. Baby. Nika, is that... Nika? Nika? Nika! Snake? Snake? Fuck, there's so much blood. You're gonna be okay, my love. You're gonna be just fine. I'm gonna get you some help, baby. Help! Someone help, please! Anyone? Oh gods, what did this to you? What? How are you losing track of each other and everything that's happening constantly? I know that I'm looking at a black screen, but you guys presumably see things. Wait, no, you did this? Did you do this to Nika? How did you miss it happening? I'm confused. Why? He was your friend. Stay back. I'm warning you, stop. No! Your fear smells so... delicious. Reconnected. He stitched them together like in the Junji Ito story where all the people are attached to each other, clearly. Is that a gamer chair in a gamer lounge? No, it's a plane? Is it a real photo? A camera. A weird logo. Is this a real photo of an airline? That's some crazy first class. I'm finally here. I never thought this day would actually come. Just a few short weeks of preparing, studying, learning, all leading up to this exact moment. And now I'm here, light years away from home. The seats of the transport craft are far less comfortable than I would have expected. My tail is starting to get a cramp. I suppose that's a good thing, though. The discomfort is a good reminder that this isn't just another nightmare, or some dream I'm going to wake up from in a few hours. This is real. This is happening. Even if I wish it wasn't. I push my body against the safety restraints, gently testing their resolve. Of course, I'm a bit nervous. Accidents during interstellar travel, while rare, aren't unheard of. My thick claws scrape against the fibers of the straps, making a grinding sound that echoes throughout the cabin. All around me are sensors, display screens, and the occasional flickering light, no doubt monitoring the well-being of the passengers. Space travel can be a pretty intense process, both physically and mentally, regardless of the quality of the transport craft. It's common for star sickness to settle in during longer voyages. Most people puke, or draw a fever in the mildest of cases, and that's only for trips spanning a few short light years within the same galaxy. Having every molecule of your body compressed and expanded as you travel through a wormhole the size of a pencil is obviously going to have some adverse side effects. Physically, I still feel fine, even if it's practically unheard of for someone to be making a voyage like mine. Training program for me to undergo this trip spent the last month or two preparing me to handle this sort of thing, and I'm starting to feel my hard work paying off. I mean, the last time someone traveled from the Solarian system into the Andromeda galaxy was during the Great Separation. That happened, like, what, over a millennia ago? Quite a few of the other passengers had to leave their seats to go vomit, or lay down in one of the 2 cooling chambers available. That's exactly how I felt the first few times I practiced in the gravity chambers back home on Titan. I guess you could say I'm more or less used to the feeling of having my insides squished into a pudding at this point. So other than my dense fur starting to bristle at the sensation, I feel alright. Mentally, however, I think the trip might be starting to take its toll. I've been on this damn transport craft for almost 3 days, and I think I can start to feel my mind slipping. I swear I'll see a different passenger staring at me, flashing their canines menacingly. But when I look up again, they'll be fast asleep. Or I'll hear a whisper over the sounds of the ship, muttering my name, and then I'll feel a tail wrap around my foot. Yeah. Bleh. Forgot to say typical of the sun? Typical symptoms of star sickness, I hope. I think back on what I was taught to do when you start to feel your mind slip like this. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and focus on what you know. My chest presses against the tight restraints as I take a deep breath, and surprisingly, it does a pretty decent job of grounding me. What do I know? What can I focus on? My mind drifts back to the lessons I had on Titan about the histories and events leading up to the reconnection program. My old professor's voice booms inside my head, as if he's here with me, giving me another passionate lecture. All life that we know of originated in the Solarian system, and for thousands of years that was peace and prosperity. There was peace and prosperity. But with prosperity comes population. Over time, when the resources on Earth started to dry up, we knew we had to expand outward to the stars. This raised the question of who would stay and who would go. The political climate spiraled out of control, and wars broke out across Solaris. The species of Earth bound themselves to their own kind and separated from each other. In the end, our people won the wars and laid claim to the Solarian system. To protect their own ownership, to protect their new ownership, we banished all other species, sending them to the Andromeda galaxy in what is known as the Great Separation. That's upsetting. That's some upsetting lore for this particular fucking setting. Jesus Christ. So we just forcefully relocated all other species out of the galaxy. It feels like it might just be backfilled from the idea of just wanting to make a setting where everyone's a wolf and not other furry species, but then over-explaining it, but in a way that makes it kind of upsetting, with implications. It's also just like a surprisingly dense backstory for the setting being exposited through first-person narration instead of just having the scene play out as it is, and sort of trickling these things as you go or something. I remember my professor used to get so proud of at that part, like he was happy about what we did to the other species, or proud of our historic victories. That's quite a fucked up perspective to have, if you ask me. We turned on our own brothers and sisters, our own people, and for what? It doesn't matter that we were different species. Earth was all of our homes back then. And yet we slaughtered them, banished them into the cold darkness of space, because of nothing more than our own greed and fear. Not only that, but to try to keep the people in check, our ancestors destroyed all the histories and information regarding the Fallen. We didn't just exile them, we wiped them from our memories, from our very existence. I feel like this maybe could have been done as like a revelation at some point. Oh my god. When's the last time you heard of a cat? It's like they were wiped from history. It's like, we know this going into the story, which somewhat contradicts the idea that it's wiped from history. Obviously, you don't know everything because it's wiped from history, but like, not wiped well enough because you actively know about it. And it's implied that you were taught this by your professor, which seems like history exists on some level featuring them because you were being taught it by your professor, and it's not as opposed to, yeah, like this does feel like something you shouldn't know about and should be revealed at some point, assuming you're younger than when this war happened, which is probably true. Otherwise, if you were told about it already or told about it in school, then it seems not that wiped from history. Karma's a bitch. It's been thousands of years since the Great Separation. Okay, it's been a huge amount of time. And now it's us who needs them for help. In the Andromeda galaxy, the variety of banished Solarian species found a paradise and nearly infinite resources. In just a few hundred years after the war, they blew past the technological advances, cultural advances, and really became something greater. They blew past us in technological and cultural advances. Missed a word. They evolved, adapted, changed to fit their new environment. There isn't a Solarian alive today that knows what the exiled species even were, let alone what they look like today. Serves us right? Solari is a shit show right now. How do you know all this information about them, but also don't know what any of them look like, and nobody in your entire culture knows what they look like? I don't know if I can square this. Resources drying up left and right, people losing their homes, their jobs. It's only a matter of time before we crack, brought to our knees by the consequences of our own transgressions. And now I guess it's my job to fix this mess. Now it's my job to get the whole of Andromeda galaxy to forgive, to save us from the certainty of our future. Failure isn't really an option for me. That's probably why I was chosen for this damn reconnection program. There's the title. I guess that makes sense. Well, I know why. The coordinators told me why. Your perspective on the Great Separation is rather unique among our kind, and we hope you can better serve the Solarians by being our representative for the reconnection program. He sounds young and inexperienced, which just seems like it'd be an odd choice for a program that's the fate of the universe. And it also seems like all the information he had would have had to be provided by the people around him. So it's, I scoff audibly in the cabin of the spacecraft and run my claws down the length of my muzzle, the sensation helping to keep my frustrations in check. I'm not special for being a decent fucking person. When the reconnection program chose me, I couldn't believe it was real. I couldn't believe it actually was happening. The whole process was a joke anyways. Some galaxy-wide aptitude test that we all were forced to take. They didn't even take it seriously, and I'm proof enough of that. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, let alone anything about being a diplomat. I swear they don't actually care about the outcome, either because they haven't fully realized the severity of it, or the more likely answer, they just don't give a shit. I wish I was back at home. I can still remember the look on my friends' faces when I broke the news to them that I was chosen to be the Solarian representative. Their expressions of pure shock and disbelief were priceless, even if they were quickly replaced with laughter and congratulations. It's almost like they thought I was somehow special, or lucky for being the one chosen to go. Yeah, I'm really lucky. I get to give up my home, everyone I've ever known and loved, and get blasted off into another fucking galaxy. Lucky me. Serves me right for being a Solarian, I suppose. This is probably exactly how it felt all those years ago for the other species of Solaris during the Great Separation. I swear it took at least a week for my friends to come to terms with what this all actually meant. That I actually was going to be leaving them. And not just leaving for a short little vacation to old Earth or Jupiter. No, the fucking Andromeda galaxy. Forever. The memories hit me like a rock in my throat. Saying goodbye was harder than I would have imagined. I don't think there's a single thing I wouldn't give to see their smiling faces again. It all feels so surreal to me, like a distant dream of days bygone. Or better times. Nothing but ancient history, I suppose. Landing sequence initiated. So obviously some of my comments don't make any sense now, where I was talking about, like, this seems like it should be revealed later. It's the premise. So they're trying to lay a ton of groundwork to get the premise going in order to make it all work. Probably could have been a little more brief in the way it was set up, but yeah, you have to introduce a complex sci-fi concept at some point in the first hour or so to understand what this guy's even doing. But it's the explanation's wild. I'm not sure if I can get it to like logically cohere necessarily, so much as just like it being a series of explanations for what the premise was already decided to be. Like, premise first, then backfill the lore afterwards, kinda. Prepare for atmospheric entry. Please, for the safety of yourself and others, remain seated. The intercom overhead startles me from my ruminating and pulls me back to the moment at hand. I notice the turbulence has increased a bit, and I start to feel my stomach slowly floating up in my guts, even when I'm locked down from the safety straps. My paws instinctively fly up to my pointed ears, pressing down on them to try... Did I say pause? Did I say pause? I feel like I said something weird. My paws instinctively fly up to my pointed ears, pressing down on them to try and relieve the pressure building up inside as the transport craft descends. Feels like someone's blowing up a really big balloon inside my head. Just a matter of time before I pop. I think I'm gonna puke. Star sickness is a bitch. The windows of the craft become clouded with ozone and gases as the craft descends. They shudder and shake as if being slammed by a giant creature while the atmosphere washes over us. I close my eyes, silently begging this experience to end. Gradually, the pressure lessens, the craft slows, and the nightmare is over. Landing sequence successful. Welcomed to Zenalyr IV. My eyes snap open to the sound of the intercom blaring overhead in the sudden silence. Well, this is it. The end of the road, but the start of my journey. Chatter from the other passengers kicks up around me. I can practically feel the excitement in the air, and the soft metallic clicks of safety harnesses being undone echoes through the craft. My large paws struggle to get a grip on the leads as I fumble with my own harness in the low light, shaking a bit in anticipation. The leads break free with a satisfying snap, and I clutch my bag up to my chest, holding onto it like it's a lifeline. My paws subconsciously carry me forward, seemingly having a mind of their own, as if they're just as eager as I am to get off this damn ship. This is the struggle when people use the word paws in furry stories, is that they can refer to both your hands and your feet. So I'm like, I kind of default to hands. So I was like, wait, his paws are carrying him. Oh, he's walking. Got it. I can't believe this is actually happening. The sounds of my step ricocheting off hard metal might just be the only thing keeping me tied to this moment. A hiss of pressure releases from the door, and it slowly peels away from me as it opens. So is he currently... I don't know where Zenalyr is. So is he currently in the Andromeda galaxy, or the place he's going to go to on the way to the Andromeda galaxy, basically? The burning light of Zenalyr's sun assaults my eyes as I step off the craft. I can't stop my jaw from dropping as I see the glittering city expanding out beneath my own 2 feet, almost like I'm standing inside a shining diamond ring that glistens and stretches to the horizon. My muzzle twitches as a warm breeze floats by, smelling sweet and fresh like a soft blanket to my senses. Tall buildings stretch up to the sky, and green trees sprout up all throughout the vast expanse of the city, making it look even more vibrant and alive. The gentle sounds of the city echo all around me, making my pointed ears twitch. Well, at least it's beautiful. My gaze drifts from the lights of the city and lands on a peculiar little creature standing just in front of me. Wow, a real Zenalyrian. I remember being shown images and videos of the species I was going to live with during my training, but seeing one up close is totally different experience. I guess I expected them to be bigger, taller. Maybe this one's just small. Hello there. I try to sound as cheery as possible as I address them, but fail miserably. After 3 days or so of not being used, my voice comes out as a deep, gruff, jarring sound. This is clearly a shock to them because their eyes widen and slowly harden up at me. Hardening eyes. I shift a bit uncomfortably as my paw pads under this Zenalyrian's intense stare. Okay, I've got to say, we're like a half an hour in. We haven't seen a single sprite yet, have we? Like, that's kind of a lot. I clear my throat, which does help a little with the tone before I speak again. In this case, we're talking about an alien creature, and I have no idea if it's like just a random new surprise type of alien, or if it's like an anthro-species, or I don't know. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I do a traditional Zenalyrian bow that I was taught in my training back on Titan, hoping my placating gesture is enough to smooth over my earlier gruffness. When I lift my eyes back up to theirs, I can see it didn't work. Their gaze is still boring into me, like I'm being interrogated for a crime or something. You must be the Solarian, I take it. The voice is petite and definitely female, with a rigidity that belies old age. I shudder as the fur around my muzzle ruffles in embarrassment at her dismissive tone. Yeah, that's me. How did you know? Her eyes finally stop glaring, thank the gods, and turn down to a glowing data pad she's holding in her wiry paws. She doesn't even look at me as she responds. That bow hasn't been used in over 100 cycles, and is reserved for females on their bonding day. I blink a few times, smile sheepishly at her. Cycles. Years? I don't know how long the years are though, so maybe I shouldn't interrogate that too much. Because I was like, 100 years? Do you live for 100 years? I'm like, well, I don't know how long your years are. It's a different planet. It would seem my up-to-date crash course on Zenalyrian culture was as up-to-date as I was. It would seem my up-to-date crash course on Zenalyrian culture was as up-to-date as I was led to believe. I guess that's sarcasm, or we thought it was not up-to-date. My claws scratch nervously at the back of my neck, and I suddenly feel like I'm sweating through my fur. Way to go, dumbass. Great first impression. Nice job. Gods, I'm such an idiot. Sorry about that. God damn, my voice all of a sudden. I've been narrating for half an hour. I'm a bit nervous. I'm a bit new here, but you probably already knew that. She gives me a stern look over her data pad, typing away at something I can't see. Sir, before I'm allowed to release you into Zenalyr IV, I need to download your profile for the record bank. God damn. More water, I guess. Struggling, damn. And ensure you know your itinerary for the reconnection program. May I please see your data pad? I can't help but notice her tone as she talks about the program. I'd be concerned about whether or not their data pads are compatible if his information's 100 cycles out of date. Underneath her regal demeanor, she sounds almost spiteful. I mean, that's kind of what it sounded like. That's what the starting tone seemed to be, right? I blink a few times, processing her words as I slowly remember the reason why I'm here in the first place. Oh, right, the datapad. Yeah, I have it right here. I unzipped my pack, grabbing the glowing tablet and passing it over to her. I guess I probably do have a deeper voice than what she might be used to. Am I really that strange to her? Her initial saltiness quickly fades to a calm professionalism as she clears her throat and takes the datapad from my large paws. Name, species, and star system of origin. What's our default name? Echo. How intriguing. Species and star system. Timberwolf and Titan, Solarian system. She types away at her own datapad before handing mine back into my empty clutches. Your itinerary has been downloaded for your viewing pleasure. A map of the city is also stored onto your datapad and will guide you to Aurelia University, where you'll be living for the remainder of the reconnection program. Furthermore, I have implemented your datapad with some very interesting technology. As you are going to be meeting new species and interacting with individuals from other cultures you are not familiar with, this datapad will help you in your future endeavors. It feels like a video game tutorial. It will listen to your conversations and watch your environment. It derives context from what is being said and seen, and will auto-update itself with any new information that you garner during your stay here. All information you gain as a concept? What? The datapad is very smart and will pick up on things that you might have missed. We've almost eradicated the AI hallucinations. The sensors within are quite accurate and can provide measurements and statistics on top of all other information it's going to provide you with. The datapad will send you a notification on the top left corner, as you can see currently. Simply click the datapad button in the bottom right and take a look at the new information the datapad is already updated with. So it's a codex. Species glossary, planetary encyclopedia, notepad. Oh, you can write your own notes. That's interesting. Solarian Timberwolf. Inhabitants of the Solarian Galaxy. Average height of males 6 feet 9 inches. Hello. Display a wide variety of white, gray, and black coloration schemes. High natural muscle density due to increased levels of planetary gravity and environmental variations throughout the Solarian Galaxy. Whenever it believes it has gathered enough information to provide you with a new entry log regarding planet, species, or culture, you will receive a notification. Be sure to check your datapad often. Expect to receive updates rather frequently during your first few days here, and they will slow down as you become more accustomed to Zenalyr. Why doesn't it just have the information on it? Like, it's like the internet, but you have to learn everything yourself. It's like, what? That's strange. That's actually really strange in universe. I would not question a codex that's non-diegetic, that just updates with lore as you go to catch the reader up. But it being completely diegetic is way weirder, because then you're like, why does that device work that way? Why would it? I don't understand. The datapad will specify what type of information it is updating you on. Planetary data updates will show up in the Planetary Encyclopedia, and information on the individuals you encounter will be updated in the Species Glossary. Lastly, the datapad has a built-in notebook that can be... Try open a notebook and you can type of things. We can move past this. Additionally, as per the outlines of the program, you will be sharing a dorm room with another delegate of the program. Sharing a room? They didn't tell me anything about that. This datapad seems helpful enough, but I have no idea I was going to be living with someone. Sharing a room? I wasn't aware that was a required part of the program. Is there any information you can provide to me about who I'm going to be living with? I know she can tell I'm a bit nervous at this revelation as she glances down at her glowing datapad, the blue light reflecting off her reddish fur. An angry-sounding beep comes from the device. Of course, it's part of the program. The purpose of reconnection, after all, is sharing culture. What better way to do that than living with one another? And as for the information on your roommate, there is none within the system I can provide. I don't know how things operate back in your homeworld of Titan, but here in Zenalyr we respect privacy. Like, they just don't have records of what room anyone stays in? That seems dubious. Rude. Right, I suppose I'll just have to find that out on my own then. Thank you for your assistance, miss. She doesn't respond to my question about her name, instead brushing past me and moving on to the next passenger. Her head barely reaches above my hip. I sigh and shoulder my pack. So we just have like no concept of what that species looks like or what they're like. If all Zenalarians are as crotchety as her, haha, because of the height that they are. Yeah, barely above the hip, crotchety, get it? I'm gonna, it's so stupid. I'm going to be there and I'm going to be in for a rough time. My claws reach back, pulling out my data pad. I flick through the tabs and find the map. It seems Aurelia University is actually just about a 15-minute walk away, which is definitely good news. After that road trip and brutal re-entry, the last thing I want to do is trek through a foreign city for hours on end. I will my paws to carry me forward, and the city seems to envelop me in its electric embrace as I walk. The greenery and plant life gives way, becoming more and more sparse and infrequent as I go deeper into the cityscape. The buildings rise up before me, and I see hundreds of Zenalarians bustling around in the early evening light. It would seem that the liaison I met earlier was definitely not representative of the height of her species. So are we gonna have a sprite soon, maybe? Because the background's blurry, which itself is a little odd, because we really had no consistency so far with how the backgrounds are presented. They're like different art styles every time. Most of them are slender and elegant with a good variety of sizes, but I have yet to see one that matches my stature, even if a rare few do come close. I notice many of them give me a confused look as I walk down the path towards the university, like I'm some kind of invader in their lands. In their defense, they've probably never seen something quite like me before, so it's only natural for them to be curious. At least I hope it's just curiosity, not animosity. Aren't you going to like an academy full of wolves or something? I stare in awe and I take in the environment that has now completely swallowed me up. Also, is there an empire going on with the politics of the wolves? Like, are they kind of invaders here? Most buildings have a glowing crystal energy pylons stationed out front that shine with a potent teal hue. The very air itself seems to feel statically charged, and I find myself needing to flatten my gray fur quite a few times to appear even remotely like I fit in. Fit in with what? They're all Zenalarians. After a few minutes of walking, I can feel my paws starting to get sore. It seems the voyage took more out of me than I assumed. A delicious smell wafts across the air and my stomach growls loudly, which I'm sure doesn't help my dangerous foreign invader aura much at all. It's probably been a solid day or two since I had a proper meal, and I just hope that there's food somewhere in my dorm or at the university. I can't help but look longingly towards the source of the smell, which is a large mechanical food cart on the opposite side of the street. Steam rises from the grills on the cart, billowing over the small crowd of excited Zenalarians gathering around. Behind the stand, a tall male, who meets my hungry gaze with a friendly wink. My parched tongue instinctively flicks over my muzzle at the prospect of getting a meal. The cart owner suddenly stops his work and flashes me a smile. His canines glint in the low light, and his eyes lock onto me with a predatory gleam. He licks his lips as well, and I can see drool pulling up at the corners of his sharp jaws. Time grinds to a halt, and the air around me seems to electrically charge with tension. Well, it was already electrically charging in the literal sense, seemingly, as he sets down what looks like a spatula and starts to crawl over the cart towards me. His lips pull back into a devilish snarl, his head unnaturally cocked to the side, like a beast stalking its prey. Is this the weird sickness thing that was mentioned before, where you kind of hallucinate in these paranoid concepts? The acrid smell of burning flesh and fur hits my nose like a punch to the face as he steps onto the grill. What the fuck? My hackles raise, and my deadly claws flex at my sides defensively. I take a step back and shake my head, trying to focus on the fight that's brewing before me. When my eyes focus back on the Zenalarian, he's standing behind the cart, smiling naturally as he entertains his customers. Fucking star sickness. That is wild, just to be randomly hallucinating just random fucked up echo style things. Makes you wonder if the people in the cold opening thought that they were hallucinating, maybe, if it's common enough, or it seems like something that could really mess with your ability to perceive whether or not the horror stuff's happening. I quickly turn and keep walking up the street, shaken at the vivid hallucination I just witnessed. I knew star sickness was no joke, but I had no idea it could be that intense. The hard metal street clanks under my claws as I walk past the towering buildings of Zenalyr. The street's made of metal. I glance down at the data pad and it shows it's only a few minutes away from my dorm. My long strides start quickly eating up the distance, and I can see the large ornate university come into view at the end of the road. I definitely feel like this could be trimmed. This is a very, very long intro before any scenes. Like, there's a few there's some bits of intrigue, like the star sickness, but a lot of it is just like, just the very, how do I put it? Furry visual novels sometimes make the mistake of just writing logically. Like, oh, this is the logical information I should establish before the story starts, and this is the logical sequence of events that would happen in transit, and the way that my character is moving, and so on. And if you just describe it all in full detail, it's maybe not the most elegant way to start your story when you need to hook people relatively quickly to have something happen. And I don't know if having a cold open where unknown characters die in an unknown way is enough of a salve for the fact that then the story's gonna have nothing happening for this long. So far we have no characters and no plot and no, like, nothing really at all, really. It's just the setting, like, for a very long time. It's a truly massive building, seemingly made of something like marble with columns, arches, and multiple energy pylons out front. The university is an oasis compared to the rest of the surrounding city. The grounds are covered in grass, trees, and bushes, like a verdant emerald green in the midst of all the buildings behind me. Near the roof of the building is a sculpture of a proud-looking Zenalarian holding a stack of books. The fur along my back and nape bristles a bit as nervousness sets in, and maybe a bit of anticipation as I move towards the entrance. I'm really going to be living with a Zenalarian for the foreseeable future. I hope they're not anything like the one I met at the starport. I hope they have a sprite so we can find out what they look like. But I feel like it's going to be a surprise though. It's a wolf, whoa! I clamber up the steps and cross the threshold into the building. The interior design is high-tech and very well furnished. I'm standing in what appears to be some sort of common room, with chairs, tables, couches, and a few lingering Zenalarians. That is it's a sort of a cumbersome name to have to say this often. They glance up at me but don't seem to pay me any mind, which is welcome respite from the reception I had in the city center. My datapad indicates that my room is at the very far of the hall to my left, and I eagerly head down it. Now we're back to the sci-fi backgrounds. Rows and rows of doors, no doubt other rooms, line the corridor. I don't know if I get the logic for why backgrounds are blurred or not blurred so far. The first few just weren't, and now they are. Including a corridor in this case, like the first corridor. Well, at least I'm in the right place, I think. I reach the end of the hall, the cool tile underneath me sending a chill up my spine as I stop in front of my door. 22T. My muzzle pulls back in what I hope is a friendly smile as I prepare to introduce myself and unlock the door with my keycard, pushing it open. And now I have a hand-drawn background with a laser sword and a bunch of hologram tablets everywhere. The room's relatively average sized. I don't know how you determine that, with plain walls and sparse furniture. The only thing of note is a big sword hanging above one of the beds, etched and engraved with runes and symbols I don't recognize. So player one has an advantage in this room, basically. So someone has a giant sword next to their bed, the other person doesn't. There's a clear pecking order then. Well, the sword and the fact that sitting on one of the two beds is the largest living creature I've ever seen. All I can make out is a mountain of jet black fur, since its back is facing me, and its tail is draped down onto the floor below. It's a wolf then, right? I can see the dense contours of muscle and sinew rippling beneath the glossy shine of its pelt. That's no Zenalarian. The thing is truly, genuinely massive, and a bit of fear clutches at my throat as it goes dry. Excuse me?
By Aetherian!
Was it by or the? Yeah, by. The creature's deep voice booms through the room, and he falls off the bed onto the tile with a loud thud. He quickly stands back up, brushing off his fur as he turns to look at me.
You almost scared the fur off me.
He has an accent that's unlike anything I've heard before. It's a bit guttural, with a gruffness that's separate from the deep tone, almost like he's growling and speaking at the same time. He clearly wasn't expecting a visitor today. The black behemoth shifts and turns to face me, and I see the front of this enormous creature. Alright, based on the description, I wasn't expecting him to be like a anime raver boy OC. Interesting. He's wearing relatively short shorts, but he's got the straps hanging down. I think those are like overall straps, but the ones you just like have hanging down and on like raver pants, I think. What makes a scar glow? But then he also has an eye scar, and that one doesn't glow. Were they made in different ways? Was the healing of the scar done in a way that makes it glow? Is it a cosmetic scar? Is it body art? Do they have, I almost said chromatic aberration. Do they have bioluminescent tattoos in this setting? And then the eye scar is a real scar? There's a lot going on here. And he's got the blue hair too. It's a wolf? Maybe? It's definitely a canine. Looks pretty similar to me in terms of anatomy, but there's some pretty striking differences. The size being the most obvious one. The beast has 3 glowing stripes carving up his left flank across his muscled chest. Up his left flank? It looks pretty centered. One across his eye, and his ears are quite a bit more pointy than mine. So his are more pointy. We've described our own ears as pointy several times already, but these are the super pointy ears. And he's even taller. Your average height is 6'9", and he's bigger than you? So this is just going all the way up to like 8 foot tall furries now at this point. What's most shocking are its eyes. There's a lot of dehumanizing pronoun usage. They're unlike anything I've ever seen, glowing a vivid purple, like he has some form of bioluminescence. The eyes glow? That wasn't apparent to me, but the scars glow, and that would be bioluminescence, right? All I can do is stare in awe as he rises up to his full height, which is probably a foot, and then some above my own stature. I was right, 8 feet tall.
Sorry about my surprise there. I wasn't expecting anyone to be stopping by today.
Must be a quiet fucking door.
Are you Echo? They told me you wouldn't be here for another week.
The deep baritone in his voice hits me like a wall. I clear my throat and try to sound as confident as before. As confident as possible before the truly intimidating creature in front of me. I'm sorry, it's slightly funny how much he's being hyped up as being like terrifying when I'm like, maybe if we had an angle that sells him as tall, but otherwise I'm just like, it's a furry, and you're a similar wolf, so it's like, it's fine. It's not like you're a human that's like, oh my god, what is that? It's a wolf that stands up and talks? Yeah, I'm Echo. It's nice to meet you. His muzzle pulls back in a grin, and I see the glint of sharp fangs and the bright, artificial lights.
Well, your presence, although a shock, is not unwelcome. My name is Kai Ryken. It's a pleasure to meet you, Echo.
He bows low to me, his enormous paws scraping against the floor as he flourishes downward. After my screw-up with the liaison earlier, I'm not quite sure how to greet him formally. Yeah, definitely not risking a bow. It's nice to meet you too, and sorry about scaring you. I figured you knew I was coming. I probably should have knocked regardless. Sorry, again. Yes, you should knock before you enter a stranger's room, even if it's going to be your room 1 second later.
Oh, it's no problem. I'm glad you were able to find the place with what I hope is relative ease. I've come to learn that Aurelia University can be a bit of a maze at times, and I've found myself lost more often than I care to admit.
He seems friendly enough. Yeah, my datapad took me right here, but I wasn't made aware that I'd have a roommate until after my craft landed. Kai's chuckle rumbles through his chest at my words, but he doesn't seem too surprised by what I said.
Ah, yes. That is to be expected. Zenalyrians do have a tendency to keep outsiders in the dark.
Interesting. He seemed to have known that I was coming, so someone definitely told him, but not me? Not to assume too much, but you clearly knew I was coming. Are you not an outsider? I don't want to make assumptions or anything, but you don't look like the other Zenalyrians I've seen thus far.
Do I look like a small little furball to you? How insulting.
I can tell by his smirk that he's joking, or at least attempting to.
No, I'm not a Zenalyrian. I'm Colteran.
Colteran?
You didn't really think that the only ones joining in on this reconnection program were the Zenalyrians, did you?
No. Because I'm not one. So, I'm starting to realize that I'm not nearly as prepared for this as I thought I was. You literally said you don't know what you're doing. I mean, maybe? He chuckles a bit more, then returns to sizing me up with those glowing purple eyes. It's a bit of a whiplash that the whole intro was our character almost omnisciently knowing how to perfectly summarize everything that's going on, and the moment he gets here, he immediately has no idea what's going on, including really basic things, not only about like his dorm, but also like what the thing is he's doing and the program he's joining. So he exposited at us like he knew, but that was kind of misplaced characterization because he actually doesn't know much at all apparently. He chuckles a bit more, then returns to sizing me up with those glowing purple eyes.
Oh no. It's probably 20 different species here that were invited on the program. Remind me, what star system do you come from? You don't look like anything I've ever seen before.
I thought the intro kind of set up that every species was kicked out, and everyone's the same species. Except the Zenalyrians are here too, but I guess that wasn't the species that got kicked out. I thought it was a monoculture of just wolves. Until we met the Zenalyrians, obviously. Whatever they are. It would seem he's just as shocked by my nature and anatomy as I am of his. A slightly different wolf? I'm from the Solarian system. Titan, to be exact. His ears perk straight up at my revelation.
You're the Solarian?
I almost said Solarian earlier, didn't I?
You'll have to excuse my surprise again. You're not what I was expecting a Solarian to look like.
Solarian. I have to be careful I'm not saying Solarian. Yeah, you can say that again. Or Silurian, which is a completely different, like, dinosaur alien. You're not what I was expecting a Solarian to look like. You can say that. You can say that again. I agree with you that I don't look like a Solarian? That's a weird response.
Well, it seems like we have a lot of learning about each other to do then. But first, make yourself at home. I'll grab the lube. No need to stand in the doorway like a stranger.
He steps back away from me, gesturing me to enter as he sits down on his bed once more. His muscles bunch up under his striking fur as he moves, and I can't help but stare a bit. Kai sure is impressive, to say the least. He catches my gaze lingering on his body a bit too long, as opposed to what you've been doing so far in this scene, and shifts around on his haunches uncomfortably. He looks down at his bared chest, then back up at me. His tail curls around his leg a bit in embarrassment.
Sorry about my state of undress. As I said, I wasn't expecting visitors, and I find the clothing here is to be a bit clingy.
I set my bag down on the floor and walked towards what I assume is my bed. Don't worry about it, I'm not bothered. You're allowed to be comfortable however you please. This is your space too, dangerous words. To my surprise, he breathed a sigh of relief. Well, that's good to hear. I was half expecting you would be like the Zenalyrians. A slight groan of pleasure escapes my lips as I finally have a chance to sit comfortably somewhere. Sit down somewhere that isn't an uncomfortable transport craft. What do you mean by that? Like the Zenalyrians? Ah, you must excuse me again. I suppose you are new here after all. Well, you'll find out soon enough that the people here are as good-natured as they are. Can be a bit, how would you Solarians say, sticks in the mud? Why would you know what we say if you don't even know what we look like? I chuckle a bit at his careful phrasing, like he's wary of offending me. If I'm going to be living with this guy, it's probably best just to be myself and let him see the real me. Really? I think I would have just called them bitchy. You've met one. Calm down. His massive muzzle rolls back with a deep laugh. Oh, I think that's putting it lightly, friend. He gets comfortable on his bed and clasps his paws together in front of him. So, tell me, how was your voyage, Echo? Were the stars kind to you, I hope? I follow suit, propping myself up against the wall behind me and cross my legs, the tail flaying? I don't think that's the word you mean. Flying or splaying? Like my tail flaying. Does that have alternate meanings? I hope so. My tail flaying lazily to one side. I'm a bit starsick, but other than that, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How about you? Did your trip go smoothly? How far did you have to travel to get here anyway? As I'm sure you may have noticed, I'm a bit unfamiliar with... Kotero, was it? Kai nods Kai nods knowingly, and his expression is pretty welcoming, all things considered. No. I've lived here on Zenalyr for almost 3 cycles now, and my condolences for the star sickness. I myself have not experienced it, but I have heard it is far from pleasant. Well, I guess that answers my question about why he knew he was getting a roommate and I didn't. He's been here for some time. 3 cycles? I may be wrong about this, but I was under the impression that Zenalyr didn't really have their planetary borders opened for immigrants. His demeanor noticeably changes at my question. He looks down at his paws and twiddles his claws together. Did I say something wrong? No, you are right on that. Zenalyr has been closed off for the past few hundred cycles. I blink at him in confusion as I wait for him to continue, but he doesn't seem too eager to explain himself. Sorry if I said something to upset you. I guess I'm just a bit confused as to how you've been here so long if Zenalyr isn't open to immigration. Kai's bushy head shakes from side to side slowly. I'm not an immigrant. I'm a refugee. It's not something I particularly enjoy talking about. I'm surprised that they have... Oh, I guess I must have clicked on... Must have pressed D-pad at some point. So they have different policies for refugees than immigrants, I guess? If they're fully closed from any immigration, I'm a little surprised that they take refugees. Oh. I'm so sorry, I had no idea. I didn't mean to pry. No need to apologize, you'll learn all about it in due time, when I write that chapter later. A refugee? From what? I didn't realize war still occurred in the galaxy. It literally just said that I didn't mean to pry, and then he's like, you'll learn later. And then you can press the issue. Seems inappropriate at that point. I don't know. I should probably just drop it. Clearly something pretty traumatic happened to this guy. So, how have you been liking Zenalyr so far? If you've been living here for 3 cycles, surely you must have some opinions on the place. Zenalyr's amazing. The people here have been very understanding and welcoming. Not to mention the nightlife here in the city's amazing. Kotero will always be my home, but Zenalyr definitely has its redeeming qualities, to say the least. It'll always be your home, but you're a refugee. What did happen there, then? The nightlife, huh? What exactly do you mean by that? Surely you don't mean the bitchy Zenalarians like to party, do you? Oh my god, you've met one!
Oh, that's exactly what I mean. The Zenalarians, as stuck up as they are, really do enjoy letting loose, and they do it well.
I wouldn't have guessed that in a million cycles. You've met one! You've been winked and smiled at. If that part was real. Well, color me surprised. It would seem there's more to them than meets the eye. I don't understand. You've met one rude person and you're like, that whole species sucks. It's like, what about the other one that was like seemingly flirting with you from their food cart or something?
I was a bit shocked myself when I first experienced a Zenalarian nightclub, but let me tell you, it is amazing.
I'm not much of a party wolf myself, but if you say it's fun, I'll gladly take your word for it.
Party wolf?
I don't feel like this requires explanation. Those words are both, I assume, in your language, which is the same language.
I do not understand.
Right, of course he doesn't know what a wolf is. Why the hell would he? What? What is he? How does this... I don't understand how the setting works, I guess. It would seem my ability to make assumptions during first impressions is something of a superpower at this point. Yeah, the informal name of my species is wolf, after all, so a party wolf was just someone that enjoys going to clubs and parties like that. I don't think you need to explain what party meant, buddy. He seems to consider my words for a moment, contemplating the meaning.
I see what you mean. I know you are a Solarian, but I did not know your species was known as wolf.
How? Okay.
In my language, we have a word for someone that enjoys music as being social with others, but it would not quite translate to party wolf.
You have a different language? I thought you just spoke the same language. It seemed like that. Was a translator implied, or is he bilingual? Really? What would it translate to? He smiles and says the word in his language, and it really does just sound like a guttural growl, more than an actual word. It's beautiful sounding, in its own rugged sort of way. Got a bit of the Amicus thing going on where they speak like growly Latin.
I guess the closest word would be slut, but I have since learned that word has a very different meaning for non-Colteran people.
His booming laugh rumbles through his chest again. I can't help but chuckle as well. His laugh is pretty infectious. Slut? Are you trying to tell me something about yourself here? I wink at him teasingly. He chuckles a bit more before facing me fully again.
You've caught me red-pawed. But seriously, well, I do enjoy dancing and letting loose just as much as the Zenalarians. This is as far as the context of that world where it applies to me. I am a virgin, and I'm promised to marry. And I won't be fucking until marriage.
Just crush the dreams of everyone reading. Well, I suppose it's good that you can be responsible with your endeavors of the night, as it were.
I guess this just means I will have to show you sometime then.
What? That's not matching up.
It'd be my pleasure to be the first to introduce you to the party scene here on Zenalyr. That's not what I thought you meant.
While the premise of going to a Zenalarian club is a bit daunting to me, Kai seems like he'd be a blast to hang out with in a more social environment. Not to mention the thought of a hot guy like him dancing is, well, appetizing. I'd love to. It sounds like fun.
Ah, so you were secretly a bit of a slut yourself then, after all.
Now I'm the one laughing, and I throw my paws up, pretending to be offended. No, I'm a stand-up wolf, I swear.
No need to get defensive, little one. I am just teasing.
Little one? I'll have you know I'm quite large by Solarian standards, so you're larger than average, and the average is 6'9", so you're like 7 feet tall. And so he's like 8.5 feet tall.
That is fair. I guess most people of Zenalyr are little ones in comparison to me. Which is quite a shock to me when I first got here, I might add.
A shock to him? Kai's fucking enormous, how could he not know? Because they're all big there. He clearly notices my somewhat conflicted expression.
I suppose you do not really have much of a frame of reference, do you? By Colteran standards, I would say I'm only slightly above average.
Are you telling me Colterans get even bigger? 12 foot tall. Kai smiles a bit and nods eagerly. Oh yes, I once met someone that was nearly a full 2 feet taller than me. That's already like 10 feet tall. In one of the cities back home. There's no fucking way. Also, they use feet. The thought that he views himself as slightly above average is mind-boggling. That's hard for me to wrap my head around, in all honesty. It will be, yes. What exactly are you anyways? I'm a wolf, like I mentioned, but I obviously haven't seen anything like your species before. I've never seen anything like you. I've only seen wolves. So sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just, it's funny that, like, I'm so baffled by this strange alien. A taller wolf. Kai pauses a bit at my question, running one of his claws over his muzzle. Well, there's not really an agreed upon term in the common tongue for my species. That seems like an oversight, but I would say that the most accurate label would be Wolf of the Crypt. What? Wolf of the Crypt? So a crypt wolf? Can't say I've heard of anything quite like that. Then again, I'm a timber wolf, and there are quite a few subspecies within my species, like a gray wolf, for example. Unlike us, which are both gray already. I pause for a moment before continuing. Is a crypt wolf something like that? Just a Colteran subspecies? Kai nods. That's the wrong nod. Kai nods eagerly, a genuine smile creeping across his face. Yes, like that exactly. You were quite a clever one, Echo. A slight brush creeps into my fur, and I feel a flutter in my chest as I bristle around the eyes. Kai is actually pretty charming. I think we already established that a few times. Well, thank you for the compliment. So, why the name then? If it's alright for me to ask, that is. The first thing you need to know about Coltera is we are an extremely devoted and religious people. That is not where I thought that was going. You will learn all about this through the Reconnection program, but my species specifically are tasked with defending and protecting religious burial sites and artifacts all across our planet. Your entire species has one job? It's very specific. We defend the crypts of our ancestors, hence the name Crypt Wolf. So my new roommate's a bit of a religious zealot. Great. Could be far worse, I suppose. At least he's not an actual Zenalarian, which my gut tells me would be pretty bad. You're so mean to the Zenalarians. You've only met one, and she was just curt. Fascinating. Religion hasn't really existed in the Solarian system since well before the Great Separation. But I guess that does explain the name then. Crypt Wolf. I repeat the name, enjoying how the sound of it really rolls off the tongue. I'm assuming that that's what the sword is then? An artifact from your homeworld? I say reverently, my gaze drifting up to the sword above his bed that I noticed earlier. Kai follows my gaze and flashes me a toothy grin. Oh yes, the Blade of Aetherion. It is a relic that my family has been in charge of protecting for generations. Each family of the Crypt Wolves is responsible for the safekeeping of one artifact, and the sword is mine. Is exact... Do they have a surplus of artifacts that are kept somewhere? Or is there somehow a matching... Do those numbers match somehow? Is each... Also, and the sword is mine. Your family or yours individually? Do they also have relics? Or is just your family has the one relic and none of them have it right now because you took it? Should you have it here? It is passed down from father to son. Okay. And when my father died, the blade became my responsibility. I can't help but gawk at the sword. The intricate runes and designs give it a sense of importance that you can practically feel in the air around you. The hilt seems to be made of solid gemstones, and the blade itself looks sharp as the low light of the dorm room dances and shimmers over the dangerous edges. I'm sorry to hear about your father. Have you ever had to use it? The blade, I mean. Ah, I wish I was worthy enough to wield such a blade. Aetherion has not chosen a champion since the Dark Times. I am simply the blade's keeper. This definitely won't come up later. Simply its keeper? I can't help but feel a bit indifferent? Kai speaks with such conviction, like there actually might be some truth to these religious fairy tales that he believes in so fervently. It's not really my place to challenge his ideals regardless. It's my job to learn about him and his culture, not to judge. If that means tolerating a bit of religious propaganda, then so be it. It's beautiful. I'd love to hear some of the stories about it sometime.
Oh, you will learn all about it in the coming months, I am sure of it.
A slight chuckle escapes his muzzle, and his glowing eyes flash with excitement.
And I am very much looking forward to teaching them to you, Echo.
He locks eyes with me for a moment, the captivating purple hue of his gaze drawing me in like a moth to flame. We hold each other's gaze, and he smiles softly at me. My breath catches in my throat, and I can't help but smile back at this truly enigmatic being. Enigmatic? I feel like he's really open and explaining everything to you. A beeping sound echoes out in the dorm.
Herein be damned. I'm going to be late. I am gonna be late.
I am not contracted, but gonna. I am gonna be late. The sudden change in his demeanor snaps me out of my momentary trance. Late? What's going on? Is everything alright? He gets up from his large bed and walks over to the datapad on the nightstand, his raven black fur practically absorbing the light from the room as he moves. He's not that dark. He's not drawn that way. He lifts the datapad up very close to his eyes, almost like he's struggling to read the bright letters and words on the display screen. Maybe we should hold it further away. My apologies for cutting our introductions with one another short, but I have a pressing appointment downtown I must attend to. I look out the window and see that it's well into the night at this point. An appointment at this hour? He opens a drawer in one of the two dressers in the dorm room, pulls out what seems to be a type of shirt. The garment has the same symbol that my own clothes have. It marks us as diplomats for the reconnection program. Since all the diplomats are expected to work with one another on a first-name basis, it kind of defeats the purpose of having a symbol to let us know who we are. I mean, you could still tell who's in the program. The mark is really nothing more than just a big brand that says to the Zenalyrians, "Hey, this guy's a foreigner, in case you couldn't tell." I think being a wolf does that. With these kind of species at play, I don't think that the marking is really going to matter. I also don't feel like you have been here long enough to have like this kind of ongoing grudge against your own uniform when you haven't been here until now and haven't really interfaced with people. An appointment this late at night? Kai nods sharply as he slips the garment over his massive frame. Some kind of shirt. Oh, wait. That looks like a wolf. Is the symbol for the reconnection a wolf? I thought it was going to be the icon we saw at the beginning during the logo. If it's a wolf icon, that seems a little like a bit of favoritism amongst the species. Unless they're all wolves. I can't tell if they're all wolves or not. Unfortunately, yes. Normally I would be more than eager to skip such a thing and keep chatting, but this is kind of important. Oh, no worries, Kai. Should I expect you to be back later or not? I sleep here. He shakes his bushy head slowly, and his pointy ears wobble back and forth, and Kai was never seen again. No, I will not be back tonight, so please do not wait up for me. I am sure you need your rest after such a long journey, not to mention being starsick. I can feel the vibrations through the floor as he walks over to the door. He moves rather gracefully for being so large, which isn't really surprising now that I think about it. Speaking of, I forgot to mention that a package is here for you. He points with his muzzle to the corner of the room by the nightstand. Sure enough, there is indeed a package there I hadn't noticed till now. It is from the resource synthesizers of the city. It would seem the Zenalyrians have provided you with some sort of welcoming gift. I glance over at the package before looking back at the crypt wolf. Thanks for letting me know. Well, safe travels then, I suppose. It was a pleasure to have met you, Kai.
The pleasure is all mine, friend.
I plan on seeing you tomorrow during the Memorial for the Fallen. The Memorial for the Fallen? What the hell's he talking about? I reach over at the edge of the bed and pull my data pad out of my bag and start scrolling through the itinerary. Sure enough, tomorrow at the 11th hour, Memorial of the Fallen. Yes, of course. I'll be there. You can count on that. The Fallen that were scrubbed from history? And they have a memorial. I'm just getting a few mixed signals. Well, I will see you then, friend. Thank you very much for the conversations. I am glad my roommate has turned out to be such an interesting individual. Interesting. We got a lot of information about Kai, but all we learned about us is that we are called the Timberwolf. From his perspective. Goodbye for now, Echo. He bends his muzzle low, giving me another sweeping bow before turning and shutting the door behind him. Interesting individual indeed. I think I'm going to stop there, because I've actually been going for a while. I tried to kind of dive deeper in to try to get like some events to happen, but it's mostly exposition, introduction to the setting, and then an extended meeting with the character that I'm sure is very prominent in the story, which that part makes sense, but definitely would like to see events happen early in games like these, just because it helps get your people a little more invested earlier on, instead of just dealing with like the logical step-by-step of onboarding a character into a university and so on, which is one of the traps. It's actually one of the ones I don't talk about as much. It's like there's the type of furry vision novel where you wake up wounded in the bed of a wolf and he's taking care of you for like the whole first hour of the story and nursing you back to health or something, which happens a lot. But there's also the onboarding into some kind of university or military program or so on, and there definitely are ways to introduce stakes during that process, especially if you like don't know if you're going to be accepted or something into the program or something like that. But the step-by-step introduction can be it could be one of the least gripping ways to introduce the story, because you're just like, okay, but what happens, what's going to happen in the story, like moment to moment. But yeah, I'm curious where it goes. If you want to check out the rest of the game for yourself and you're an adult, you can check out the link in the description for the itch.io page. That's going to be it for me for today, everybody. I'll see you guys next time.